we will now move to our next terrifying domain. And Joe, I'm going to need you to step up and absolutely horrify me, unless Michael can once again bring the most twisted mind to the domain of Har'Akir. So, the domain of Har'Akir is one of the domains of dread. Again, a classic one that has been updated with some really cool new features. This had, I want to say, one of my favorite maps out of any of the domains. Was the map of Har'Akir that I just want to read and play in 1,000 stories set in. And first thoughts from y'all on the domain of Har'Akir.
This is actually. Do you want to go, Joe?
No, you go.
Okay. This is actually my favorite domain of dread because of the setting. It's just like endless desert. You have pyramids, you have ancient ruins that are trapped. This is the kind of setting that I just absolutely have always wanted to run. And I think that could be just a really great, like even if you ran like a short adventure in it, it's going to be memorable just based off of the fact that it is a desert, and there are not a whole lot of deserts to explore in published material right now. So, yeah, if you want to fight a pharaoh, this is your opportunity.
Yeah, no, I dig this one a lot. On top of just sort of the usual like they're dumb. Like, obviously, like, the first thing you sort of think about this one, you're like, oh, I can live my Brendan Fraser dreams, which of course you absolutely can. But then layered within that, you have this idea of a very sort of not tragic because he had it coming, but like a Dark Lord sort of like driven by sort of a fairly like sad goal, which I think is really interesting. But on top of that, you have like a false pantheon of gods, which I think is really cool. It sort of twisted up into this. You have this obsession with order, which I thought was a very interesting layer to put on top of this place that is um, run by this sort of like army of kind of like horrific lackeys who are constantly searching for this guy's little Horcrux pieces. But I just thought like that the need for order of things, it was really cool. But there's so many really fun supervillains rooted in Egyptology, and who I was thinking at first when I started reading this one was En-Sabanur, was Apocalypse, with the survival of the fittest. And I love that this guy's, instead of survival of the fittest, it's just this need for the order of all things. It was just fascinating to me.
And I'm going to jump in because I don't think I did it on this section, but if you would like to encounter the 5e version, the 5th edition version of Har'Akir, completely unspoiled, you may want to duck out for a couple more minutes because we're about to talk about some of the things that make it really special. This one is known as the Domain of the Ancient Dead. The Dark Lord is Octopot. The genre is dark fantasy. The hallmarks of this domain are ancient tombs, desert perils, lost gods, mummies, of course, and some of the missed talismans that you might encounter are a canopic jar, a lapis lazuli scarab, or a scroll of hieroglyphics. And I love that they list talismans for all of them because, again, I think travel between and the connections between the domains are just the thing I'm increasingly obsessed with as I have gone through the book. But Har'Akir has a lot of really classic features, but with some really, I thought, fun, cool twists. So the powerful Dark Lord at the center of it has a particular search that he is on that your players can either help with, get in the way of, or fight against. And a big part of the text for the Har'Akir section is actually a series of tables that can help you to shape. Like this one has basically recipe for an adventure built right into it with like different setups and different resolutions and different options to goad your imagination forward, which I thought was really, really neat. And additionally, you should, if anyone hasn't checked it out, there's a lore video on Har'Akir that's up on the Wizards channel that I thought was super rad. But it confirms one of my favorite things from this section about Har'Akir. All of these ruins, any ruin and dungeon and thing that you can imagine, they're all connected. You can travel this entire messed up realm by going through different dungeons and temples and ruins. And I just think that's so cool. In addition to the inhospitable above surface features and the civilization or the settled elements, people having elements of Harakir. So, is there a particular location or character or element that jumped out as particularly interesting in Harakir to you, Michael?
The bent pyramid. So this is just the imagery of this. It's a granite pyramid, but then as it rises, it actually I don't know how to describe it. I don't have the vocabulary. I will read from the book because they have the vocabulary. In the northern desert stands a small pyramid that has a curious design. The sides rise from the earth at a steep angle until halfway up, then come together at a shallower angle. The bent pyramid, which is encased in black granite, has no interior, no temple, and no obvious reason for existing. However, suits chosen, however, no, it sits atop a well of immense magical power that can be tapped by manipulating sound waves. So, just in the middle of this desert, there is this vast pool of power that I just know your players are going to love. Trying to figure out, maybe the pyramid actually is a giant puzzle, and as you play different tunes, the pyramid changes shapes to eventually reveal this well of magic. And then who knows? I mean, you can come up with whatever you want for what that pool of magic does when it is released. Maybe it explodes. I no, don't kill your players. Do not kill your players. I don't know why I keep thinking of murder. But I don't know. Maybe
When you have a Domain
unicorns
of
come out
Dread
of
party, Michael shows up to the party.
it. I'm
I like
sorry.
learning about my new team.
I'm laughing because the bent pyramid was also mine because I think that's so cool and because they wove this element of music into a lot of the setting stuff and you always have my attention when you're like and also music. Um Joe, what did you pick for your favorite place or feature?
I was also going to talk about the labyrinth. I love the idea that below the sands everything is connected, like all of the tombs, all of the caves. I think that's so cool. Imagine, your party not realizing that they have entered this domain and they spend the entire time underground. And then, all of a sudden when they think they're reaching the end of this adventure, boom, what a twist. Like all of a sudden they're just in the middle of the desert and they realize there's a whole like upside, like there's a second floor, to this whole place. I think is so cool. But then not to harp on the same thing, but again, they have all of the domains have these connections to building a character that's in that domain. And like you said, Amy, uh, just another twist on top of this setting is how connected music is in all of it, which I thought was so interesting. So one of the hooks they ask about characters that are from this domain is, what role does music play in your life? Do you prefer to sing, dance, or play an instrument? What animal, hero, god, or past pharaoh is evoked in your favorite song? And how do others feel about your performances? I think is so cool, and just like another just like interesting little layer that they've put in the mythology of this domain.
I'm gonna arbitrarily pick another one because I was gonna pick the pyramid, and I kind of dibs both of yours already. So I'm gonna go with the Red Oasis, which is one of a couple of noted oases in this land. Harakir's people say this oasis's waters are poison, as the oasis was given by the gods to the beasts of the land. Prides of cunning lions hunt nearby, frequently washing their kills here. I love that there is no obvious way that you're supposed to use that for your adventures, but the fact that there is a supposedly poisonous oasis surrounded by lions, which, you know, they're in the desert because this is fantasy and you can put lions in a desert if you want. But like the pride of lions that's at this desert washing their kills, like, are you desperate enough to go in? Are you going to stay away? Do you need to defend it against somebody else? Do you need to, is it poisonous in your world? Is it not poisonous in your world? There's so many ways that you can go with that, and I'm very excited about all of them.
Yeah, I definitely imagine a situation where your players had been traveling through the desert for days and days, rolling against exhaustion, and eventually they come upon the first sight of water that they see, and it is not good, not good, and not good at all.
So finally, in addition to, there's so much that we can't get to. I can't wait for people to have this book in their hands. So I'm torn between wanting to tell you every single thing and wanting to let you discover a bunch of these surprises for yourself. But I will please request that one of you roll a D8, so that in addition to that larger plot set of tables I referred to, there is an adventure table for Har'Akir. And let's find
Sure,
out
I
what
can
we're
roll.
going to do. Yay.
Oh, you.
6.
All right, we got a 6. Ooh, once again, a good one. The revolutionary Elise is secretly a jackal-headed werewolf allied with the mummy lord Senmet. She seeks to find Anktapat's Ka to bring the pharaoh's rule to an end. So this unquestioned leader of this entire domain is not completely unquestioned, because certain forces, as often happens, have other ambitions in mind, and your adventure might ally you with those forces rather than either aiding or hindering in the primary quest. And all of the names and words that I just said reference other things in this section that'll make sense once you have it. What do you think? What do you think of our adventure?
I love it. I love a good backstab.
Again, I'm
Taking
just very
notes.
excited to learn things about Michael live on the internet.
So yes, those are just a few of the things that you'll discover in Har'Akir and that you might run into on your adventures through the domains of dread. And I am so excited for people to get these books in their hands and their digital hands. All hands are digital hands because fingers are digits. I'm having a whole, wow, never occurred
Nothing
to
is
me
real.
before. Yeah, I've spent too long in the mists. I'm losing my grasp.
Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, a new vision of horror from the maniacal minds that brought you Curse of Straw. Explore over 30 domains of dread to terrorize your table, or use the ghastly guide to create your own. Let loose your dark side with all new character subclasses. Unleash fresh nightmares with dozens of malevolent monsters. Pre-order for chilling bonuses and perks. Subscribe to share this twisted content with your table. Face your fears. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Pre-order now on the D&D Beyond marketplace. Or else.